悪霊退散.
Things are returning to normal once again a week after Clive's crazy release. From players initially hating his visuals, some people still do, but now people tried them, people liked them. But now we're entering this new phase where a lot of people, they played them, they experienced them, and they're kind of letting go of the character. They're going back to their original mains. But now, as such, with them not playing the character anymore, people are starting to talk about balance. Now, I'm still slowly learning about the character, learning the matchup, so I won't give my take on whether or not he's busted, OP, or any of those things now. Now, what I want to do is talk about just some things that I personally am interested in. Tweets from Harada, Arslan Ash, some stuff about Marvel's rivals. We have a wild assortment of things. Like I said, players are back to normal. And what is that? That is requesting the most bizarre character ideas ever. You know what I think is so interesting? It's not that players like request ideas. It's like, what do you envision when you request these ideas? Like people say, put a Brazilian character, put a Pakistani character, put a Canadian character. You're saying a country has a deep history, a deep lore. Like, what do you expect Harada to take away from the simple terms Brazilian character? That can mean anything. We have a couple in Tekken 7 already that's South American, and they are very different. From Katarina to Christine to Eddie to, I believe, Gigas is even from that region. Yeah, he is from that region because he's Katarina's adopted father. So when you say a country's name, that can mean anything. And I never understood why players did that. But you have someone here asking Harada for a character, and we can't see what they said because their post is now deleted. But he said, "You were asking for a Brazilian character, so why are you writing in Arabic?" Someone else responds and says, "As a native Arabic speaker, I can tell you this guy is not Arabic. Why is he using the language to a Japanese developer? I don't know. He's basically using Google Translate. We don't speak that way unless we're in school or an analyst on a news channel." Harada says, "I know. That's why I responded with weird Greek language." And I don't know if you guys caught that, but Harada's original post was in Greek and it translated to English. A couple of people who's been very outspoken about not liking the current Tekken 8. You have Kakoma and you have Arslan Ash. I have two tweets from these guys. They're not connected, but I still just want to touch on both of them. We'll start with Kakoma. Kakoma says 50-50 times 100. Stage and BM and Tekken Shop girl clothes, thumbs up, character down. I'm thinking like, instead of this character, if money invests in netcode for all new players and original Tekken characters making this better, just Tekken is great and solve real problems is better for everyone. My opinion. Kakoma has been very outspoken about the game, and I like the broken English. Obviously, bro speaks multiple languages, so I'm not going to make fun of him for that. But I like how passionate he is, passionate about trying to get this game, who he feels, and I feel as well, is off course, back on track. When we talk about season 2 and how they're gonna change, I wonder, like, the 50-50s are intentional. That's something that they wanted to do. It's not an accident. So when you think about that being the main issue in season 2, do they revert that? Do they revert something that they intentionally did and they want to be there? Do they take it out? I don't know, because it's like the question that you have to ask yourself, or the developers should be asking themselves, is they did all of this to bring in new players, but is it working? Are they bringing in new players faster than they're upsetting old players? Because in my opinion, I also think that old players is more valuable than new players. And I don't mean old in age, I mean old as in like legacy, as in a lot of people who's playing right now, Tekken is their favorite game. So if you bring over little Timmy from Fortnite, from Overwatch, from Marvel's Rivals, he might play the game every once in a while, but it's not going to be his favorite game. So when you're upsetting people who love this game for people, and you're trying to replace them with people who just think it's like kind of cool or it's something that they play for a little bit, I mean, I don't know.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
We'll find out soon enough, though, what they decide to do in season 2 and how they decide to change the heat system, because players are speaking up and this game has still not hit 3 million copies sold. It still hasn't done it. Arslan Nash, he says, seriously considering playing KOF again. After watching SCS, at least you can block in that game. Now, this is also something you have to talk about with Tekken 8. Blocking, force 50-50s, plus on blocks. What I think is so interesting about, Tekken is how people are comparing it to many other games. Arslan is doing KOF. You have a lot of people who's comparing it to Virtual Fighter. Everyone is looking at the small teaser of gameplay that we got for Virtual Fighter, and they're saying this is what we want Tekken to be. Real fighting, punching and kicking, and we want you to actually be able to demonstrate skill. I was seeing some of the clips of Virtual Fighter Revo, and the 3D movement in that game actually matters. In Tekken, you sidestep something and you will still get hit because the character just has super OP tracking. Moves that aren't supposed to have tracking, like on paper, you see 0 tracking, no tracking, but it still tracks. And it's like all of that stuff is why people are very upset with the game. And once again, let's go back. Season 2 is their time to correct a lot of it. Let's dive into another flaming pit. Marvel's Rivals. There was this big discussion that I wanted to get a part of, but I didn't have time to do so. And right now, I'm looking at it as a Tekken player and I'm like, maybe we're not so different, you and I. Marvel's Rivals, the devs, are not considering adding a roll queue to the game. A lot of players were demanding this feature because they simply just were upset with the game. They feel like, everyone, the way that I perceive it is that everyone wants to be their own hero. Everyone wants to be the star. You pick a damage dealer, you pick a tank, and you run at the enemy team and you just try to clap cheeks. But you have no healers, and sometimes you don't even have tanks, right? So you have no support. You're in there just fighting a 1v3, 1v2, 1v5, and you're just trying to kill the enemy team faster than they can kill you, and the chances of them having healers or whatnot is likely. So people basically want the developers to add in a role queue to force people to play roles so the teams are more evenly stacked. Now, in my opinion, I think that's a bad idea. I think that the game has a lot of cool characters, and I like the idea of mixing and matching teams. If you had a certain amount of teams or healers every single time, the game will feel super samey. The matchups will feel super samey. The fact that you could have all damage, all healers, all whatever, allows for crazy things to be done. I like this tweet here. It says, Rivals does not need roll queue. You need to learn to play more characters. And also be aware of your healers. So I have this chart here from IGN, which basically gives the top 6 strongest characters in the game. Iron Fist, Jeff, Hela, Scarlet Witch, Star-Lord, and Moon Knight. Jeff is super OP, and I think generally healing in Marvel's Rivals is super OP. And I think a problem as well is that people pick these damage dealers like Iron Fist and whatnot, and they just go rush into the back line of the enemy team, and they're out of range of the healer. I'll be trying to shoot those little health balls at people to heal them up, and then they're just not even picking them up. They're just completely ignoring it. They're just completely oblivious to the fact that the healer or the tank is trying to save them even when they are on the team. This is a game that is going to be very interesting to see how it plays out, but I'm happy that the developers are, one, fixing issues fast, but two, they're not really doing this roll queue. I don't think you need to do this for this game right now. Like, the player base is super healthy, it's super strong. There's a lot of great discussions around this game, and I think doing something like this right now is completely unnecessary. Play more characters, experience more of what the game has to offer, but also I think they should nerf characters like Iron Fist. And even Jeff's healing is crazy. His damage is crazy. But if they bring a little bit more balance to the game, it would give players to move around and also stop trying to do the things that you see down on Twitter.